Hi everybody, I wanted to talk to you today about my own Kundalini awakening experience 22 years ago, I think it was. My history, I'm now 49, my Kundalini was awakened when I was 27. Prior to that time, I lived in Los Angeles and San Francisco. I moved there when I was maybe 20, I think about 20 years old. San Francisco, I was a big hippie deadhead at that time. And somewhere during that period, I got into exotic dancing. I was following the dead. I was an exotic dancer. And then I somehow slipped into the modeling field. And through a friend I met who was a makeup artist, she invited me to come to LA. So I came to LA. Through a series of events, I ended up marrying a rock star. I was married to Matt Sorum of Guns N' Roses. So I was living a pretty high flutant lifestyle, partying a lot, that the whole life. I was modeling, I was acting, I was playing music, and I was going to San Francisco to work at a strip club in San Francisco. So that was my life. And Matt and I were off and on for years. We had this, as you can imagine, crazy rock star marriage, and it was not healthy for either one of us. It was not healthy. So that was my prior life. I wasn't one of these people that was born awakened and seeing spirits. None of that was there for me. I definitely had an interest in meditation, and I think part of my reason for following the dead was because I was, I always kind of tended to go towards the people who liked to meditate, and I wasn't really into doing the drugs as much as just the energy of the rainbow gatherings and everything. So there was definitely an interest there, for some deeper knowledge and deeper understanding, but my life at the time was not meditative. So I moved to Los Angeles, met my ex-husband, and we had this crazy relationship. And then I was seeing a therapist, and a couple times a week, 2 or 3 times a week. And she said, I think it would really benefit you to do yoga. So I didn't know anything about yoga. So I chose a yoga studio that I happen to drive by every day. And it was Yoga West, which is a Kundalini yoga studio. And I really got into it. I was going at like 3:30 in the morning or whatever time they meditate early in the morning. Then I was going a couple other times during the day because I really just needed to go there and get that peaceful, calming energy as my life was pretty hectic and pretty crazy. And I got into it, and I took the teacher training. And I always had this question, though, of where did Yogi Bhajan learn these yoga moves? Where did he learn, all of this yoga that we're learning? And I always got the answer of, well, he learned it from a secret cave yogi. And I said, well, who? Where? Can I go meet this cave yogi? I wanted to know more. I just had this deep yearning to know more. And I could never get any deeper answers. But that was a longing within me to know the depth of it, to know deeper. And I had some experiences during that time. I used to go to Guru Singh's class. Anybody in LA who's done Kundalini yoga, I'm sure you know who Guru Singh is. He had amazing yoga classes. And one time after class, we were laying in Shavasana doing some deep, intense breathing exercises, and I left my body. So that was the first non-drug experience leaving my body that I had, and that was really cool. And another time I was doing a morning sadhana in my apartment and just doing some chanting. I don't remember exactly what I was doing, but all of a sudden I felt like this big vibrator was just right on my third eye. It was so intense, it threw me backwards, and I heard the sound of like thousands of bees. So something happened within my third eye at that point, but I had no idea what was going on. So there were some really good experiences, but I wanted to go deeper. But in the midst of all this, so I'm going in and out of this relationship with Matt. We're kind of coming together and coming apart. And all this craziness is happening. And at one point I knew that I had to leave LA. I just had to get out of there because the relationship was not going in a good direction. And I used to hike up by the Hollywood sign, up in the Hollywood Hills. And one day I was hiking and I just sat down and I was looking out at the city of LA and I just closed my eyes and I said, what should I do? I don't know what to do. And I heard a very clear voice that said, go to Nashville. I was like, okay, Nashville it is. And I had a sister that was living in Nashville, sister and brother-in-law. My brother-in-law played music. Well, they actually both played music. So I pretty much moved, I think that week, to Nashville. And I was looking for Kundalini yoga class, and they weren't as prevalent then as they are now. You know, this was 23 years ago. So she was looking in one of those New Age magazines or something. And she said, well, here's something. She says, it says Kundalini. I don't know if it's a Kundalini yoga class, but it says Kundalini. I was like, okay, I'll try it. So I go to this place, and it was an ashram, and I had never seen anything like this before. It really kind of blew all my senses, you know. I see this picture of this guru on the shrine, and like that I had nowhere to put that in my understanding. I didn't understand gurus. I didn't understand the concept. I understood nothing. So there was something that scared me about the whole thing, but at the same time, I was completely drawn to be there. So I went and I enjoyed the program, and I got Shaktipat for the first time. And I saw people kind of shaking around and, you know, having kriyas. I didn't know what they were. I didn't know what was going on, but it was very intriguing to me. I was not scared. I really was intrigued by the whole process. And after the program, he came up to me and he said, where did you come from? You're a yogi. And I was like, how does he know I do yoga? You know, I didn't even know what that meant. But we had a connection, and he saw something in me and I saw something in him. And, you know, obviously past life, your guru is like your past life connection as well. So I got Shaktipat. I didn't really feel much, honestly, that first time. I didn't have a big experience. I think there's just like a lot of kind of questioning of what's going on here, and, you know, how do I feel about all this? And 2 months later, I went back. So I had a series of events happen. I went to a Kundalini yoga retreat in Puerto Rico where someone did a reading for me, and they made it very clear that I was to go back to this place. So when I got back from the yoga retreat, I went back to the ashram. And at that point, I just knew I was supposed to be there, and it felt like home. And I was like, okay, what's the next step? And the guru called me to the front, and he handed me this little pink book, and it was the Matravani, Anandamayi Ma's book, which I have read hundreds of times since then. Great knowledge and so much good beloved energy in that book. But I opened it to a page, and I don't remember what it said. And it's so funny. I've looked for this same page since then, and I can't find it. But it said something to the effect of that an aspirant should live in the ashram. So that was it. I moved into the ashram. And at the time, there were hardly any people living in there. My guru did not have a partner at the time. And the people that were living there worked. So it was pretty much me and him for a couple months. Just he was with me 24/7, just pumping all of his energy into me. It was the most graceful, beloved experience I could have ever asked for. When I see people now, you know, I see these large groups with gurus and they can't even get close to the guru. I go, I was so blessed to have the experience that I had at that time. It's just beyond words how blessed I was. So then the Kundalini started kicking in. You know, how could it not, being with such a powerful being in such close, intimate surroundings, you know. And I remember my very first kriya. I remember this finger, my ring finger on my left hand started going like this, you know, and I was like, I am not doing that. That's just happening. And it was a cool feeling, you know. So then, and I don't remember what progressed from there, but it progressed and it progressed and it progressed. And the Kundalini got really, really, really intense. And at the ashram at the time, the energy was so amazing and so high, and people were just getting such amazing manifestations of the divine, just manifesting the Divine Mother in all forms, manifesting God in all forms. God was just coming through in every form. I mean, every Hindu form, but also like, you know, Allah and Jesus and everything. It was just so incredible. We were just in this high all the time. I would go to the grocery store and just be like floating around the grocery store. I didn't even recognize that there was a world out there because I was so immersed in this energy. It was so intense and so beautiful. So that was my awakening experience. I'm not going to get into my specific experiences. I think sometimes those are, you know, nice to be kept quiet and just to be shared at certain moments with certain people. But let's say that they were far beyond this world, and I've had every experience I think you could have in this realm. It's been a really, 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 really amazing path. So that was my initial Kundalini awakening experience. That was 22 years ago. Now, since then, as you can imagine, I have had a lot of karmas to work out, living the life that I was living. And I mean, I feel like my guru worked out so much past karma for me, like so many lifetimes of karma. I think if I saw a video of myself before that period, I probably wouldn't even recognize me. I think that I'm just a completely different person than I was at that time. I really think thousands of lifetimes, if not millions of lifetimes, have been erased from my karma, from that experience. And the blessings are just beyond words. You can't even speak about the blessings, how amazing it is to have had such an experience. And why am I sharing this? I'm sharing this because so many people are having spontaneous awakening these days that I'm noticing, just seeing in different groups posted here and there. And I think a lot of people don't understand what's going on. And I don't understand the perspective of people just having spontaneous awakenings because, you know, mine happened with a guru in such an intimate setting. But I guess I'm here to say, if anyone needs help, if you just need someone to talk to about your experiences, if you just want to run it by somebody, you know, I'm a little scared, I don't know what's happening. Because whenever I had something happen, like I moved back to San Francisco, I moved back to LA, and I was living there, but I would have things happen. I would have new experiences happen, like when the voices started coming through me, and all of a sudden I'm meditating and this voice just starts coming through me. If I didn't know what was happening, I probably would have thought I had a dual personality, or I don't know what I would have thought, you know. So it can help to have somebody just to run things by, to make sure, you know, say, I'm not crazy, this is not crazy, this is God, this is divine, this is amazing. And the feelings within you while these things are happening are so divine, or so high, or so spiritual that it almost can't be mistaken for crazy. But I think it's just nice sometimes to have somebody to talk to about these things. So, is there anything else I want to share? I think I'm going to leave it at that for today. That's my Kundalini awakening experience. And I have been giving Shaktipat since that time. And I can't say I've been giving Shaktipat, because through the grace of my guru, who, you know, gave me permission to give Shaktipat, the mother started coming through me and giving Shaktipat. So when I give Shaktipat, I just completely surrender to the energy. And whether you want to call it the Shakti, the Kundalini, the Divine Mother, often she comes through me as Kali Ma. And this is Kali Ma behind me in this picture. And although she looks like a fierce goddess, she's one of the most loving, imaginable goddesses you could ever be with. She's so loving, she's so caring, she's so kind, she's so gracious, and she takes away all of your anxiety, all of your stress, all of your fear, all of your stuff that you don't need, that you don't want. And she gives you grace, and she gives you so much love, the love like beyond any earthly motherly love you could ever have. She's the divine, she's wonderful, she's amazing. So often it's Kali Ma that comes through me, but also I've been finding lately a lot of the Shaktipat Gurus come through or are in the room when I'm giving Shaktipat. Now, I stopped officially calling it Shaktipat last year. I think it was over a year ago. And I now just say that I'm giving blessing programs, because there was a discrepancy with what was happening at the ashram and what was happening with my energy or my Shakti. I don't know why this discrepancy came up, but there were certain rules and restrictions of things about the way the Shakti should come through, the way that Shaktipat should be given within a tradition. And my Shakti wasn't coming through that way. And I kept trying to change it. And I kept trying to go back and say, no, I need to do it the way my Guru wants me to do it. I need to do it in this way. And what was happening was not that. What was happening was a completely different manifestation of the energy. And so I'd pray and I'd pray and I'd pray and I'd pray and I'd say, Ma, please show me what I'm supposed to be doing here. What is this happening? Why is this happening differently than what my Guru says should be happening? And I tried to do it the way he wanted me to do it, but the energy still wanted to come through in a different way. And it finally came down to me just completely surrendering and saying, I'm yours, divine, I'm yours, Shakti, I'm yours, Ma, I'm yours, and I'm going to take myself out of this as completely as I can. And please just come through me in the way that's highest and best for me, that's highest and best for everyone, that's highest and best for the world. Just please come through me in that way. And I'm a vessel, and I'm here for you, and I'm surrendering my body to you as much as I possibly can. Just let me be a vessel for your grace. And since that time, I have just completely let her come through as she wants to come through. Unfortunately, this created a rift between me and my Guru. So on the physical plane, I had to make a split with my Guru, although I don't feel that we can ever be split. And I feel that my heart is always his, and we're always together. I also have another wonderful teacher in Santa Fe, not a Shaktipat Guru, but just a divine, blessed being who guides me and comforts me and teaches me always. So I am so blessed to have these amazing teachers in my life guiding me and keeping me on track and loving me and blessing me, and nothing beats it. And again, he doesn't have very many people around him, so I've just been so blessed in this lifetime to have these teachers that that don't have massive amounts of people around him. Going to the Joe Dispenza retreats, it's been challenging for me, because as much as I really enjoy his energy and I really enjoy what he's presenting, it's very hard for me to be in a room full of 800 people and not being able to directly communicate with him or directly get that response from him that I'm accustomed to getting from my teachers. So I guess it's really my karma in this lifetime to be with teachers who can be with me personally. And I feel so blessed because of that. Not that you can't get the energy from the bigger groups, because I absolutely know that you can, but I feel so blessed to have what I've been given. Okay, so I am still doing programs. I'm still giving the blessing energy. I don't call it Shaktipat. I don't claim to awaken anyone's Kundalini. I don't claim to do any healing, although those things happen. Right? So I just say to the mother, please come through me in the highest and best way for the people involved. Please come through me in the highest and best way for me. Please just come through me in the highest and best way for everything and everyone. And then I surrender, and I let her do what she wants to do, and I let her come through in the way that she wants to come through. And it's always beautiful, and it's always divine. And sometimes people say, oh my gosh, I've had this thing forever, and I noticed it's healed now, or my Kundalini's active now. So these things do happen sometimes they don't. I don't question it. I don't try to figure it out. I just let it be. And that's my stance at this point. Total surrender to the divine, total surrender to the energy, total surrender to God. I'm just surrendered. I'm just here. I'm just doing the work. Whatever work comes through me that God wants to have come through me at this time, I'm surrendering it. And I love you all for being here with me and sharing this energy with me. The divinity within me is the divinity within you, and that's my only aspiration in life, is to see the divinity in everything and everyone around me. That's my only aspiration in life. I strive only to see the divinity in myself and to see the divinity in everything around me, and recognize that we're all one. All of this energy, it's one consciousness, one energy, one grace, one truth, one peace, and be divine in everything, and see that aspect of divinity in everything that I'm doing. So I love you, and I'm going to close my eyes. Let this beautiful, graceful Shakti energy come through in whatever way she chooses to come through at this time. Please contact me if you have any questions about anything, about working with me, about having a program wherever you are, or about any experiences you may be having. I'm here to help. I'm just here as your friend, right? I'm here as your comrade on the spiritual journey, on the spiritual path. If you happen to come across and you feel drawn to be with me in any way, please contact me. I'm here and I'm available for that. Bashta Gurudana Kalayata Karana Karaputa. Shiva 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 Kanama Kalaya Poto Kurutana Kalayata Hara Karamata Gyoto Kurutana Kalapi Shiva 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 Kramataro Kuru Hanna Kalapiera Kramato Kurutara Kalayamoto Tayata Karana Kare Shiva 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 Mayato Rayata Kalayamoto Kurishai Shai Shai Motayata Le Korondo Kurutara Karamati Hira Karana Karapate Shiva Karamata Le Orondo Rayara Karamatara Karahalayato Dayani Yamama Layato Kurutai Shiva 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 Kramato Ahirana Humala Enoreara Karamateva Shiva 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 Karanayata Le Humada Karaveshaniara Krudari Ante Hurudana Kalepoto Yamalaya Poto Karai Shiva 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 Kiara Karamato Lehamayatu. I am here, I am here, I am here. God's grace is within us, as us in the truth of all things. We are divine, we are consciousness, we are grace, we are truth. We are being divine, we are being consciousness, we are being grace, we are being truth, we are love, we are divine love, we are divine truth, we are divine energy, we are divine consciousness, grace, truth, peace, love. We are all those things. We are God's grace, we are God's truth, we are God's love, we are God's divinity, we are God's peace. We are the energy of God's consciousness. God's consciousness is the energy of grace. Grace is the truth that we are. We are the truth of all things. We are God's grace. We are God's peace. We are God's truth. Enjoy that energy within you now. Enjoy that energy. Enjoy that peace. Enjoy that truth within you now. Become the grace, the truth, the energy, the peace, the consciousness of all things. We are that energy. We are that grace. We are that truth. We are that peace. We are love. Love is all we are. Love is all we are. Love is all there's ever been. Love is all there will ever be. We are the grace, the truth, the peace, the energy, the divine love of all things. We are consciousness. We are energy. Become truth, become grace, become free. Freedom is all we're asking for here. Freedom is the truth. Freedom is the grace. Freedom is the peace. We always say freedom. We always say free. Why do we say free? Be free, be free, be free. Because God's grace is the freedom of all things. God's grace is the energy, the truth, the divinity of all things. God's grace is the freedom that we are asking for, that we are reaching for, that we are coming to now. We are the freedom. We are the grace. We are the peace. We are the truth. We are the energy of all things. So as the Kundalini arises, as the Kundalini awakens, what are we ultimately becoming? What are we ultimately doing? What are we ultimately seeing? We are ultimately seeing God's grace within everything and everyone. We are ultimately becoming the peace, the energy, the grace, the truth of consciousness in all things. And we are ultimately becoming free. So be free, right? Be free. Be free in the consciousness, be free in the grace, be free in the truth, be free in the energy. We just want freedom. That's all we want. Freedom is grace, is truth, is peace, is love, is divine consciousness now. We love you. We love all things. We love God's grace. We love, we love. We love. God's grace is within you. God's grace is coming through you. God's grace is everywhere around you. We love you. We love divine energy. We love divine truth, and we love divine peace. And we will always be here with you. We will always be in this energy with you. We will always be in this truth with you. We will always be consciously aware of you, of us, of everything in this moment of joy, peace, truth, and love. Be divine, be conscious, be loving, be truthful. We are awake, we are aware, we are kind, we are loving, we are truthful. We love you. Be divine. Europa mati